While the stock market didn't cause the Great Depression, it certainly did its part. People speculated that it would continue to grow and grow, even at such an alarming rates. John J. Roscoe was so confident, he said this to the American people, encouraging more to invest in stocks.
You see, folks, it's easy. If a man saves $15 a week and invests in good common stocks and allows the dividends and rates to accumulate, at the end of 20 years he will have at least $80,000 and an income from investments of almost around $400 a month. He will be rich. And because income can do that, I am firm in my belief that not only can anyone be rich, but ought to be rich.
People invested who had no market experience. Some people even invested on credit. So when the whole thing tumbled down, they were left with nowhere to go. The market itself, over the course of a week, lost over $30 million. Despite a short resurgence, which will be explained later, the market just couldn't handle that kind of strain and collapsed entirely.
They used to tell me I was building a dream, and so I followed them on. When there was earth to plow or guns to bear, I was always there, right on the job. They used to tell me I was building a dream, with peace and glory ahead. Why should I be
corrupted, and the overinflated stock market plunges into a great depression? A financial panic grips the world. For the majority, it means the interminable line outside factory gates, desperately hoping for a job that rarely comes. It means hunger and the march of the unemployed in the nation's capital. With acute domestic problems, America
the late
would now
1920s
isolate
were a
herself
time
more
of
than ever from
prosperity
the
and high hopes for the
international.
U.S. market. The market was soaring at a pace where some were beginning to say the stock market had ceased to become a gamble. The market showed a new financial era. However, the market was only an illusion, grotesquely disproportionate to how the economy was really doing. Slowly, the idea began to seep into the U.S. public, and they tried to sell their stocks before the price fell too far. On October 24th, 1929, almost 13 million shares were sold. 5 days later, 16 million shares were sold. Prices began to plummet as confidence in the market began to fall. In 5 days, the value fell in value by half. The private sector had been viewed as a reigning defender of capitalism in the 1920s, and was being criticized for the market's failure. So it attempted a salvage mission. On September 29th, several bank leaders, including Thomas W. Lamont, acting head of Morgan Bank, Albert Wigan, head of the Chase National Bank, and Charles E. Mitchell, president of National City Bank, met to try to stop the market's collapse. Eventually, they chose Richard Whitney, vice president of exchange, to buy a large amount of U.S. steel and other stocks at very high prices to display confidence. This tactic saved the U.S. from a recession in 1907. Other Rockefeller leaders joined him, but the tactics only delayed the recession. As prices fell, companies couldn't provide enough funds to run their businesses. 100,000 businesses closed. The recession had begun. The market should have recovered. In 5 months, the market had regained 75% of its lost value. However, the public had become distrustful of the market, so the other 25% went up until 1954. But the real reason for the depression was because of the policy at the time. President Hoover was set to stay at the gold standard and to increase the voluntary action. The country didn't respond in kind. Hoarding on the money and the deflating effects of the gold standard caused for the banks to fail. Without the banks and without a true leader, the country truly fell into a depression. Over the next years, 12 million people were out of work. 20,000 companies had gone bankrupt. 1,616 banks had gone bankrupt. 23,000 people committed suicide in 1 year, the highest ever.